Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, June 18th and we are on the Americas account. We got a ton of news to cover and we're still doing this Time Tinkerer expansion. Like, I'm loving how this is playing out. They've stretched very little content into a really nice experience of getting a lot of gold and a lot of dust. So, like, I'm gonna get 260 dust when usually at best I'm getting 120 per 3 days. And I really don't need to do anything other than play ranked to get the quest done, which is even better. So I can just now play what HS Replay says is my best deck, Spectral Priest, and just play. I can just play the game. I'm not having to build special decks, and I'm not having to do anything different. I can actually try to get up in ranked and get ranked victories, and if I succeed, great. If I don't, it's fine. I've got a ton of news. So there's a game called OK/Normal. It's $2.99. It looks like garbage. It's really ugly. I'm gonna leave it at that and move on to the next game on Steam, which is called Mists of the Wind of Friends and Fairies Collector's Edition for Big Fish Games. It's hidden object games selling for $12.99 like all their other hidden object games. And if you're willing to pay a premium for decent hidden object games, Big Fish Games is probably the one for you. I imagine you could spend several $100s on all the Big Fish Games or things that are released.
Job's done.
Excuse me. Next game we have on Steam is called Beyond Minimalism. It says it's an adventure indie game. They say it's a small experimental first-person minimalistic style game that gives one and only quest for you. Walk around rooms in the strange labyrinth looking for clues to reach nature. See, I know this game is trying to sucker me into buying it. It's 40% off for $2.39. Like, there's no saving. It's WASD, no controller support. This is one of the new games that has Steam is learning more about this game before it will let them have any kind of over 100 achievements or other coupons. It's pretty much all those being limited. This developer has made several other games, but only one of them has been rated. No, 2 of them have been rated positive. Nothing else has been rated negative. I kind of want to be generous and give this one a chance. Like, the hyper minimalistic idea is interesting. So, with the caveat knowing that in a few days I'm going to probably eliminate a considerable amount of games on my wish list during the summer sale, because that's kind of the only thing I'll do for the summer sales. I'll just go through the list and clear things off that have come out of early access but don't look interesting anymore. And I'm not really expecting to purchase too much, so yeah. I imagine some of these games I'm gonna add right now. We've got somebody on the chat, Robo Murloc. I demand a JoJo reference, please. Do you mean Fist of the North Star JoJo or some other JoJo? Because I really don't have any JoJo references to give you. I know that Fist of the North Star JoJo, he goes like yata something like that. I'm probably saying the totally wrong thing when he's doing his major attack, but that's kind of all I know. And if you're talking about some other JoJo, I have no idea. I also could certainly get pissy with you in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's not Fist of the North Star. There's two of them. I also don't know that anime. Sorry. Like, sorry. Don't know the anime. I've heard people talk about it. I've heard people say it's awesome and that you should watch it. Or at least some of the series of it. There's been several of them. But that's kind of all I can say about it. I don't think there's been too many JoJo Bizarre Adventure games, and I don't think there's anything coming out recently, so it's not very video game related right now. Moving on, the next game we have on Steam is called Mind Trap. It's a adventure indie casual. It's another one of these kind of asset flip crazy games. I sort of want to give this game, I'm warming up to being in a generous mood. I want to give this game, Mind Trap, a chance, but I really don't know what it is. It seems like it's mostly an asset flip. Let's see, I can't consider play this.
Job's done. The elements combine.
Yeah, and Mind Trap is 40% off for $2.39, and this is another game that claims no saving and it's only keyboard and mouse. And is this the same? This is the exact same developer who made the previous game. So Mind Trap and Beyond Minimalism both coming out on the exact same day. Which teaches me to go back and close Beyond Minimalism, because if you're gonna flood Steam with two mediocre at best games, then you're not trustworthy enough to make a good product, in my opinion. Yeah. Robo Murloc says, yeah, it's awesome, I recommend it. Right now, personally, I've wasted so much time watching TV and Netflix and such that the last thing I need to do is get into yet another series instead of recording content. But I would fairly say that the people should check it out.
Beware the shadow.
I can win next turn, probably with this alone. Let's see, we already talked about Tokyo Ghoul Recall Exists being announced for the PS4. Let's see. A game, according to Gamematsu, a game called Groove Coaster for Steam launches July 16th. Ride the rhythmic rails of success. Groove Coaster for Steam is a rhythm game that will have limited offline play requiring a Steam login every 7 days, which I don't know how many games are like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a lot. So it's a VR game. I think. And there's a track list, so you're not just playing your own music. I want to look at this. I'm going to watch the trailer for this. So yeah, riding a roller coaster listening to a bunch of anime music. It's an interesting thought, certainly. It looks like maybe it's not so much riding a roller coaster as it is doing. It actually looks like a mobile game from what I'm looking at, like they're porting a cell phone game to Steam. Like I was expecting something different, and this looks a little bit like Rez, but it looks a lot more like a musical, just minimalistic square you're playing as while you're running down a line. I tried to play one musical-based line runner game, and boy, could I not get past even the first level. I just have no rhythm. So I couldn't play Groove Coaster as it is right now anyways, but maybe a little interest to other people. But for me, I really have no reason to even wishlist it, because I'm such a bad instance of I have no beat. Like, alright. Moving on to the next article, Gematsu has an article. Steins Gate Elite launches September 20th in Japan. Steins Gate Elite launches for the PS4, Switch, and PS Vita September 20th in Japan. One kind of hopes that this is one of the major Steins Gate games that are good, so it will come out to PC in the West. I did want to play the Steins Gate series. I'm not sure where the Elite breaks down in that, but it is still part visual novel as a series, so that was going to be hard. Steins Gate 0 comes out in North America and Europe for PS4, Switch, and PC in 2018, so it seems like the Japanese people are going to get some games earlier, and then after a year it's going to make its way to the rest of the world to stop reverse importation. Let's see this. And can we win this and this? And can I save myself? That gets me to 9. So nope, I screwed up. I should have probably played this.
Nicely done.
Next game we have on Steam is called Dark Maze 2. It's the Dark Screenshot Syndrome. It's another game with a bunch of random assortments of assets being flipped into a maze. So either somebody has released something on Unreal or Unity to automatically make engine mazes, or the same person has decided to just try to make and publish the same games over and over again. Dark Maze 2 is the sequel to Dark Maze 1 that came out December 1st, 2017, and that is mixed reviews at best. In fact, everything the developers made at best had mixed reviews, and everything the publisher, which is a different company, has made, for the most part, is mixed reviews or negative reviews. And one look at Dark Maze 2, you know it's not a game that deserves to exist. It's just an asset flip. Moving on, next game we have on Steam is called A Lot Like Love. It says it's an indie adventure. It looks to me like a Western visual novel. It is animated and drawn horribly. This is not something I would call an art style. This is just a lack of ability to draw human people and put shading on their faces and get the proportions correct. And yeah, it seems like this is just like a visual novel. It's English and Russian, which is always a suspicious combination for your
You are the Shadow's
oops,
puppet.
I should have played
Right
that.
away.
It's always suspicious when those are the two languages. 30% off for $3.49. And frankly, I need to learn if I say a game looks bad to just close it and not throw any more dates in it. People are gonna just have to trust me. Next game we have on Steam is called Freebot Battle for the Free Web, and it seems like a bunch of robots running around shooting each other, maybe with a little bit of laser swords, and there's the pedo bear running around for no reason. That's not how I thought that sentence would end. So this seems like this is probably, for the most part, more of a meme game than a real game. It's $1.99, and it's probably an asset flip. It doesn't actually look too bad. It doesn't look super special either. But it's the first game from this developer, and it doesn't seem like there's anything to do here. Just an experiment of a game with some weird meaning in it. It's going into turn. Next game we have is called QI capital VR Quiver, and this came out June 18th. So I don't know why I'm seeing it now. Wait, isn't today June 18th? Yes, today is June 18th. Yeah, that's why I'm seeing it now. Stupid me. I don't know what day it is. Time just flies when you're playing video games and suffering from insomnia all the time. It's rated very positive, 93% of 377 reviews, which is an incredibly high number of reviews. So this game may have been in early access, and it looks like a VR game where you're shooting archeries, and it's a standard VR game where you're standing in one place and just shooting a horde of enemies coming to you. But there seems to be a lot more to it. It says it has Diablo style loot drops. It seems to have special abilities. The enemies are varied and yet consistent in the art style. There's gates that the enemies have to break through, so this is in a sense tower defense, but not in the sense that there's a considerably large amount of other towers. There's just one tower you're standing on to shoot at enemies, it seems. Like, I don't want to sound hyper hyped about this game, but it does look like it is at least 2 or 3 steps higher than a lot of the other archery VR games. However, it's 20% off, and they want $15.99, so you're paying a premium still for VR games. And let's see. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna heal myself and play this. Notice this is a gold version of this card, and this is a regular version of the card, and that's why they look different. I always felt like in Hearthstone that was a waste of time to animate games toys. It is an incredibly large amount of people writing reviews, and I half suspect vote manipulation for just the large amount of reviews here, but maybe it was just an early access. And Quiver does look like it's a good game, so that somebody put some real effort. If they're running a con, this is a major con. So if you have VR, look out for QUI, capital VR equiper. That's a good one. However, for me, I don't think I'm ever getting to VR, and I think during the Steam Summer Sale in particular, I'm going to make a specific effort to
Let me change your mind.
to not have any VR games left on my wish list. Let's see. Cardinals Gaming came on, and he said Triple X Temptation died today. I saw that on Reddit. I don't know who that person is. Is he a rapper? Is this a real thing, or is this just like a meme where everybody is saying that? Because, like, I've literally never heard of this person. And so, no offense meant at all there. I just have no idea who that is. Not at all. So, moving on. If Cardinals Gaming wants to give me more information there, that'd be helpful, but otherwise I'm just going to ignore it. We have a game on Steam called Kitty Run. It's an action indie casual game. I don't think it looks good enough. It looks like it's just a platformer with a bunch of cheap assets graphically. It's probably something like a Super Meat Boy attempt at a clone, but pathetically done. It's 40% off for 59 cents, and it's the first game from this developer. And I think that's all I kind of really need to know. Yeah, it's basically a infinite runner with a bunch of spikes, and you have to probably tap the screen or hit a button to make the kitten do flips and jump. Yeah, doesn't look like there's anything too special about that. Let's see. That one. Then that. And then the turn. PC Gamer has an article. I tried all 100 recipes in the World of Warcraft cookbook, and it made me love this game again. This is one of the things PC Gamers I think was doing for a short time, was cooking food sort of based on video games like Skyrim. Most of the time the recipes had to be modified a little bit, but I think this is actually an actual World of Warcraft cookbook, which is some very weird branding. And so yeah, I'm looking at some pictures of like 3 things he cooked, and they look fine. They look like actually really good food, but I don't know how much that really has to do with video games, just because somebody branded a cookbook using World of Warcraft's name. Let's see. Next game we have on Steam is a game called Esports Manager. It's mixed, with 56% of 12 user reviews giving a positive review. To me, it probably is. It looks a little bit more complicated than the cheap, lazy asset flip, but I don't know if I like any of it at all. And the idea of playing a game like as the manager of an esports team, it leaves you this opportunity to just watch the game play itself, because that's kind of what I suspect is going to happen, is that you're just going to watch the game play itself.
Pinch of dead cup, heel of shoes. You are the shadow's purpose. My duty is to the king.
Let's see. This one has rush, so we can just go ahead and kill this one in the turn. Yeah. with mixed reviews from a developer who's made a game called Dinner Mania and Car Mechanic Manager. Each of those games having mixed reviews. It's not Esports Manager is not a game worth keeping attention on. Next game we have on Steam is called Underground Bone Marrow. Looks like a CGA game. It's got that horrible CGA color palette of pink and ugly green. And it looks like it's kind of a Doom or type game. Yeah, it's a fast-paced type game where you're running around a dungeon fighting monsters like Doom. Let's see, it's 33% off for $1.33, and even at that price, I don't think Underground Bone Marrow is worth people's time. Alright, so the one thing I want to double check before I hop back in the game is to make sure I've done everything. Yes, I have. So as soon as I'm done with the news, I can kind of just end this recording, but I've got so much to do, so let's do this. There's a game on Steam called Debit and Credit, a walk through accounting hell. It looks like it's an asset flip. You know, the idea of teaching accounting would be interesting, but that's not what this game is. They're just asset flipping a game and calling it an educational game. This is to the level of dishonesty that should be probably flagged on Steam. The visual aspects here do not talk about accounting or show like a accounting journal or anything. I'm looking at a 3D model of some kind of robot man standing, or more accurately floating above spiral stairs. And I think we're gonna have to just get really mean here. Next game is called Hypertrain Corporation. Let's see, even if this was a good game, it wouldn't interest me as a resource management strategy economy game. It doesn't actually look too bad. It's 40% off for $44.79. Hypertrain Corporation, not too bad. It's from a developer who's made half a dozen games, none of which have ever gotten any reviews, so not enough people played it. Inherently, I think Steam's recent changes are trying to work towards fixing that. Like, if people actually could see good games and actually play them, so that developers aren't flooding Steam with 6 games and none of them are even meeting the metric to get a rating, like not getting even 10 people to review or rate your game, that is a problem. Certainly though, if you compare that to like Walmart, how many games, like not video games, but how many things in Walmart actually have user reviews that anybody could access or see? Is one toilet paper versus another toilet paper going to get a review? Is one paper towel versus another paper towel going to get a review? There's a lot of things that just come and go, and ideally we would want to be informed customers, but there's certainly a lot of products out there that never get reviews and never really need them. I think video games kind of need them because they're asking a lot more of your time than most products also. Let's see. Now it's the time to play this, I suppose. Game Master has an article. Falcom is considering turning Tokyo Xanadu into a franchise. Tokyo. So the 2015 PS Vita action RPG game Tokyo Xanadu, which has since seen enhanced ports to the PC and PS4, So they're thinking about turning that into a franchise. That's like an announcement for an announcement for an announcement for an announcement for an announcement. Like there's literally no news there. But if people like Tokyo Xanadu, I guess they'd be hyped that maybe it'll get turned into a game. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. The Android Netrunner is going to end after the next card set. It says Android Netrunner, and I assume that means the Android version of the cult hit card game Netrunner. Well, they're really calling it Android Netrunner, and it's just ending after the next expansion. Imagine if Hearthstone just said, on the next after the next expansion, we're just stopping Hearthstone. That'd be crazy. The game is ending due to the expiration of Fantasy Flight Games' licensing agreement with Wizards of the Coast. Android Netrunner was a 2012 reboot of the 1996 Richard Garfield card game Android, originally card game Netrunner, originally published by Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast has this like stupidly ridiculous copyright on all card games and collectible card games in the United States. It's ridiculous and should not have been allowed or approved.
Beware the shadow.
Let's see.
Amazing.
See, I cannot. There's nothing here to indicate that Android Netrunner actually is on the Android cell phone on an operating system. To me, it just seems like that's the name of it, which also means that this isn't actually video game news. This is PC Gamer expanding their news, which they've started to do, to cover board games, and in this case, collectible card games. So,
amazing.
Yeah. Moving on, next game we have on Steam is called The Outsiders. It's supposed to be a top-down survival shooter. Looking at the top, it looks a little bit like a top-down, probably twin-stick shooter. It seems like you're playing as a monster, a little Diablo-esque. You're playing as the boss, and you summon minions to fight for you. Interesting. Let's see what we want. I don't think playing as the enemy monster really changes too much. This game is 15% off for $2.54. And while The Outsiders is interesting enough at first glance, I imagine you would run out of interest in it pretty quick. And it's the only game from this developer, so I'm just going to ignore that and close that. PC Gamer has an article, Dying Light's 2 stunning setting promises to fix the first game's biggest flaws. Techland isn't just looking to make a bigger sequel, but a more narrative-focused one too. It's hard to agree with the idea that there was too many flaws in the first place with Dying Light, because I think that was a hugely successful game. Let's see. Let's heal this to an 8 just to irritate him. Then attack. We will certainly see more about Dying Light. I'm a little not 100% sold on Dying Light 2 because I feel like Dying Light 1 was a little bit less serious, and Dying Light 2 seems like it might go into a grim and overly serious way of storytelling. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Ninja partners with Red Bull, announces Rise Till Dawn Fortnite Duos tourney. This July, Rise Till Dawn starts when the sun sets and stops when it rises. Okay, it's probably not news that people should write about in the video game industry, just because right now with YouTube and Twitch streamers, I don't want to see one streamer get promoted over another, and inherently if the big mainstream media decides to start doing that, people are not going to be happy about it, and they're probably better off just not reporting. Like, I know Ninja's big right now, but is he going to be big a year from now? Who knows? Like, for the most part, in a similar way, I don't talk about PewDiePie unless something major is happening there. Unless the mains, somebody is attacking him for something, or he's done something so incredibly dumb that it's affected all of YouTube. Here's an article from a website called mxdwn.com. How'd I get here? The article's State of Mind E3 Impressions, Smart Dystopian Sci-Fi with an Unnerving Possible Future. So this must have been from the developer that they retweeted some of these impressions. I'm not ready to see people's impressions of State of Mind. I'm gonna wait till real gamers actually play it. PC Gamer has an article, Clay quietly began the open beta for Hot Lava during E3. Their new game is a first-person parkour obstacle course where the floor is lava. It doesn't look terrible, this Clay game, although I am still not 100% sold on it actually being a fun game. It doesn't require VR support, so it is a game I'll wishlist and keep an eye on it, but like, you're selling a very simplistic concept that you're going to have to introduce a lot of gameplay mechanics and obstacles and things to jump on for it to turn into something closer to Mirror's Edge versus something that's just a cheap joke game. Because right now it's leaning closer to being a cheap joke game. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Beyond Blue is an underwater exploration game inspired by BBC's Blue Planet 2. Let's watch this teaser trailer. I don't have time to read it, watch it, but let's see. It's the team behind the 2014's Never Alone, which is a game that I kept trying to play, and I still am trying to play. And also there's Abzu out there, so I'm not sure you'd want to particularly play something compared to Abzu. Beyond Blue does look very pretty. The thing I guess about Abzu though is that there's this alien weirdness and gameplay mechanics added, where this game might try to be closer to a simpler just exploration game. What's gonna sell me on this or not is whether there's actual gameplay on this. Is there a beginning and end, any kind of story? But for the moment, I will wishlist Beyond Blue, and I think I've already wishlist Abzu. It's probably not good Hearthstone strategy to play 2 of the same cards at any point. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, Blast Off in Space Invaders Extreme demo. Like Space Invaders Extreme has it's been out for a while, hasn't it? So I don't know why there's an article here. Let's see why somebody wrote a June 16th article talking about Space Invaders Extreme. Seems very odd considering I don't think the game came out for any platform at all recently, and this is certainly an example of like why Rock Paper Shotgun. It came out February 12th, 2018, so it actually hasn't been out that long. I must be thinking of a different game in Extreme series. I don't know. Anyways, Space Invaders Extreme is rated positive, 91% of 47 user reviews, and it's a game I'd like to try. $19.99 is asking for a lot of money for a new twist on Space Invaders, but I did like Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. So kill. Nope, we'll just attack. The next game we have on Steam is called Adventure of a Digger, and it looks exactly like a clone of Digger. I believe that's the name of this game. They want... It's 40% off for $5.39, and for as pretty as this looks, to be a direct clone of Digger is crazy. This developer has made like 5 other games, none of which have been reviewed. This is...
I must consider...
I guess it's up to the people, if anybody owns the rights to Digger, to sue. But it seems a little odd that somebody's not gonna... Somebody can get away with that. Even if it is a prettier clone, it's still a clone. It needs something different. It needs more to interest new people to play. You know, I don't even think it was a clone of Digger, come to think of it. Digger is a slightly different game. It was a clone of a different Atari. Maybe the game just called Adventure? No, I don't think so. Anyways, moving on. PC Gamer has an article, Devil May Cry 5 will be out before April next year. Seems like there's really nothing else. They're also saying probably before the end of March, according to another source. So people hyped for Devil May Cry can continue to be hyped for Devil May Cry. Let's see. Well, I want to do that. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. It's time for cyberpunk games to remember how to be punk. Cyberpunk games nail the grind and neon, but too often forget the underdogs and losers who define the genre. Ah, yes, I guess that makes sense. This is more of an editorial article that I don't really have time to read right now. Let's see this. Let's go and play this. so I'm just skimming over this. I imagine Cyberpunk 2077, which is the one they're mostly talking about, still won't really have punks as the heroes so much, because most video games you don't start with characters that are losers and degenerates. So yeah, maybe you can have secondary characters like that, but for the most part, people know what a hero, the hero they want to be and want to play as, and you want to be Dragonborn. You don't want to be Khajiit the Thief as much as some people might argue that they do.
The light shall bring victory.
Let's see. There's a Rock Paper Shotgun article. Sim Brexit game. Apparently, Sim Brexit is either the name of a company or a made-up phrase. The game is called Not Tonight. Releases next month. In sort of the vein of Papers, Please, and Beholder. I don't think we can have too many games on Steam, though, that are political before it's going to be a backlash. Not Tonight looks like it's in that same vein of Papers, Please, and Beholder. Also, in the fact that the graphics are amazingly good and you are spending a considerable amount of effort and time working through a menu system more than just looking at the characters. Not Tonight is you play a bouncer in a pub and you're looking at people's IDs, and I think the political statement here is something that could be argued against a lot more than, say, Papers, Please, where it's a fictional country and you can just say, in this country these are the rules, this is what's actually going on, where if you're saying this is what's going to happen after Brexit is fully implemented, nobody really knows that. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, limited run E3 2018 press conference recap. I don't know why specifically they are doing this recap article so late after E3. I guess it's probably because TechRaptor doesn't have that many employees, as being a smaller video game website. So you could look at that. They also have the Square Enix press conference recap, and I guess I'm going to just sort of quickly scroll through this. I'm seeing the Quiet Mayhem coverage and how that's supposed to be a live action game, and that's ridiculous. Like, once I heard that game that the game was going to be live action and then cut to the CG we saw, that is crazy.
Job's done.
Let's see. Moving on, we have a game. I'll mention there was an article earlier about PlayerUnknown of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds defending his game as not an asset flip, and he kind of said nope, not true, and then later on he said yes, actually that is true. So there's conflicting stories that came out, which does not look good on him, certainly.
Your magic shall not save you.
Job's done.
But I don't want to get into it too much because, frankly, I don't care enough. There's a game on Steam called Neo Neo. What is this? It's a bunch of random things that I cannot, from the screenshots, even tell what kind of gameplay it is. It seems like it's a Super Meat Boy-esque game where you're always jumping forward and the sides of the screens are never getting used. They want $1.79 right now for 10% off. And there's nothing here that interests me. It's the first developed game by this developer. And so let's move on. Rush. And kill. Play. And attack.
Quickly.
And regret how I played that. PC Gamer has an article, Cyberpunk 2077 will have diverse relationship options, gay, straight, bi, casual, committed. It's up to you how to decide, which probably, knowing that this is PC Gamer writing this article, I bet this is CD Projekt Red very, very slyly saying, yeah, there aren't going to be any options that say any of that, and we're not going to go out of our way to make it
Job's done.
happen one way or the other. I think I wouldn't be surprised if the relationships don't go very well and aren't really that well written. For example, in Skyrim you can have male companions or female companions that are your just with you to help you fight. In your own headcanon, you could have had any of those companions at any point also be in romantic relationships. Now, Skyrim does eventually let you do that also, but it had, I believe, some actual metrics where you couldn't romance some people because they were straight or gay, but maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Cyberpunk 2077 is kind of just a big question mark right now, and we need to see the game actually come out and not get hyped or overhyped or underhyped or really do much of anything until the product is ready to go. See, I could have definitely done this differently. Let's see. One sec, I'm gonna take a drink of water. Next game we have on Steam is called Stick Spartans. Graphics look relatively good considering it's just a bunch of squares with sticks fighting each other. The 4-player local co-op. One of these games that really has no story. 10% off for $9.89. That's pretty expensive. It's pretty, certainly, but there's really nothing here either. And it's the first game from this developer, so close that tab. Let's see.
I must consider.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
My hand is too full.
Come on,
Right away.
kill one of these guys. Please kill this guy.
Oh.
Right. Next game we have on Steam is called Teleportals. I swear it's a nice game. That's the actual name. The whole sentence there. Teleportals, period. I swear it's a nice, actual nice game. It says it has nudity, action, indie, adventure, 2D, anime. So I think we've hit the point of straight up begging. And the thumbnails have girls in bikinis, and the animation style doesn't look that good, and as I'm trying to see any gameplay, it seems like it's at best a platformer, a 2D platformer of some sort. Maybe there's portals involved in it in some way. Let's go trade all these cards out while we're playing Hearthstone. 15% off for 84 cents. And
Greetings, friend.
let's see, 15 positive reviews to 2 negative reviews, which doesn't really mean anything.
Greetings.
Yep. And let's see. This is the second game from this developer. Like, and the other game that they made looks rather similar. Yeah, straight up begging at this point. There's no reason in the world that you would have interest in teleportals. I swear it's a nice game. Just because of the name alone and the way it's selling itself. Like, it is just a 2D platforming game where you also have teleporting and portals as a mechanic. But clearly you didn't have any confidence to actually sell the game on what you had made, so you filled it with a bunch of nudity assets. Like, nobody accidentally pays an artist to have like anime girls in your game. You either want it as a selling point or you don't, because you have more confidence in the gameplay and the story you're trying to tell. Moving on, next game we have is called Cogent Defender, K-O-G-E-N-T, Space Defender. Let's see. Looks like a top-down twin-stick shooter, maybe with some boss fight elements. It's low polygon. It's, let's see, 15% off at $12.74, which at that price it's certainly not worth what it looks like. It's from a developer who's made one other game that was rated positive.
I wonder.
But the other game they made is just a Super Meat Boy clone. Far too many Super Meat Boy clones happening.
Your magic shall not save you.
Do my bidding.
Let's see, we already talked about that game. We already talked about the Kill La Kill game being announced. I'm kind of hyped to see what that is, even if it doesn't come to the list. I talked about drinking. I might have a considerable amount of duplicates here. Here's a game on Steam called Treasure. Gosh, pronounce things correctly. Treasure Hunter Man 2, which seems a little odd because I'm pretty sure the main character in the thumbnail is a female. It's kind of a 16-bit platformer. Kind of looks like Spelunky in a way. Like, I don't inherently hate this. It looks fast-paced. It looks like something that is playable and doable. It's 15% off for $1.69, so they're not asking for too much. Although it would be it's obviously not a very long game. I'd almost want to see this developer get some more time and more money. But there is a slight issue here in that there is no Treasure Hunter Man 1. So how could I suggest playing a game where the sequel doesn't happen? It says Treasure Hunter Man 2 is a retro Metroidvania. Acquire new equipment. This version comes with Steam achievements and other minor updates. If you want to go to full screen, you have to Alt-Enter. The standard control is WASD. Gamepads will work if it's plugged in before you start. The inventory is opened while the third action button D on the keyboard is pressed. And I'd love to be generous on Treasure Hunter Man 2 because it actually looks good, but why name it 2 if this is actually the first game in your series? This game is clearly short. It doesn't have great keyboard support, controller support. I could probably find something better. I've got to be pickier than I have been.
My children, beware the shadow.
Heck, I'll be generous. I'll wishlist it, but I say everybody be real careful on that one. Rock Paper Shotgun has free games of the week. That's an article I don't really need to read because all the free games that come out in a week you can just immediately pretty much ignore. Somebody made a game called Modern Road Like, which is like an RPG Maker, I think just joke game for 89 cents, 10% off. So let's close that. Somebody made a game called The Goat Man, which says it's an early access adventure gore strategy action game. It's an online co-op hunting game. Apparently, it looks more than your average asset flip, but it probably is just for the most part an asset flip co-op survival hunting game. I guess the idea here is you're hunting the goat man instead of hunting each other. It's an early access version 0.41, 15% off for $12.74. I kind of prefer if what's on Steam didn't show me games that are in early access, but whatever. Next game is a game called Grand Scree Online. It's an online only MMO. Is it even in English? Yes, it's only in English. It does not look good. So we'll close that.
I wonder.
Play this.
Job's done.
That's incredible.
Next game we have is called Cuisine Royale, which is just a free-to-play, massive multiplayer PUBG clone. Some of these games I probably could have filtered out. For example, here we go. Here's a game called Triple X Puzzle on Steam that in its trailer is showing hardcore pornography, animated hardcore pornography. And it's tagged sexual content, nudity, free to play. So I have no idea where they're getting the money from. This feels like this is one of those games that's being put on Steam just to make Steam look bad. And yes, this developer has several games that start XX, XXX, just free to play fake games, I'd imagine.
I wonder.
Like, wow. As for what it really is it's just a slide puzzle game that nobody should waste their time on. The graphics don't look good, but like that trailer should be flagged. However, at this point, I'm not even willing to flag content that I directly know is inappropriate. Next game we have on Steam is called Freefall Tournament. It's a multiplayer only game. It looks mediocre in its graphics. And that's kind of what I'm going to leave it at. It's 10% off for $4.49. Next game is a game called Lords of Kingdoms. It has mixed reviews, 43% positive. It's a free-to-play strategy RPG, massive multiplayer. It's also a multiplayer game. Wow. I'm going through quite a few multiplayer games. Next game is called World of Feudal, which is a strategy indie simulation game. Single player this time. So they're not all multiplayer. Oops. I should have played better there. It seems like this World of Feudal game has very little animation, and the most part of it is like bad animation with text telling you most of the story. 40% off $1.19. So they kind of know what the price is, but it's not great. So I'm not gonna wishlist that. Next game is Survival Z Battlegrounds. Clearly another PUBG DayZ survival ripoff game. No need to even go any further than that. It's 59 cents though, so I will mention the price. Alright. This and then this.
The red one tastes like cherries. That's incredible.
Let's go ahead and attack here and play control. Next game we have on Steam is called Guess the Meme. Clearly it's a meme game. It's clearly garbage. They want $2.99 with no discount at all. And meanwhile, with each of these memes, you're like that's probably not fair use, and even if it is fair use, you're still probably violating several people's copyrights. Even if some of them were fair use, I don't think all of them would be. Already talked about that game. We already talked about this game. Yes, if I just figure out how to stop having duplicate tabs open, this is gonna work. We have a game on Steam called Vein Hotel, V-E-I-N, as in veins of blood. It says it's an adventure indie horror thriller game. It looks like it might be a little bit of an asset flip, but maybe there's enough game here. Problem is, this is just like one of those games where you're gonna wander around an area and see spooky things, and that's probably all that you're gonna experience. This game is in English and traditional Chinese. It's $3.99, and English and Russian or English and Chinese tells me that the game has a high chance of being a low effort game, and that's what I think Vein Hotel is, so I'm going to close that. Like, next game we have is a game called Tad, That Alien Dude, and the graphics look awful. MS Paint level. This is an extreme low effort game. 20% off for $3.99. First game from this developer. There's a game on Steam called Amaze Bowl, which is a 3D bowling in space game. That doesn't look really great. I don't think there's been a really well made bowling game. It's not just bowling in space, it's bowling in several different places, like bowling down a ski lift and such, but the graphics aren't here. I think somebody could make a VR game like this. This is a VR game for $9.99. I think somebody could make something like that, but there is a level to it that has to be considered. a level of quality that's not here. So yeah, I'm gonna close that tab. The next game we have is a game called Recog: The First Wave, which says it's a simulation base building game. If you're building a base, it seems like you're building a base by some kind of space element and some kind of isometric cubist design that makes no sense. Like, I'm seeing a lot of things, like cubes, that I have no idea what they do. It's weird. Weird game. And this lost me 10% off for $22.49. That's a ridiculously high price for a game that on the face of it makes no sense and also doesn't look that good. Next game we have is a game called A Light in the Dark. It's rated very positive, 96% of 144 users. It came out June 15th. It's an indie violent gore casual visual novel, anime tags. It doesn't look terrible in its presentation. It's a visual novel, so the requirements are a little low. It's English and simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese, and it has a demo, which apparently demos now have a different gradient background compared to
Is someone injured?
Tortola, preserve us!
Job's done.
the buy button. 10% off for $13.49.
Well played.
The thing here is there's no full audio in English, so even if this is an amazingly good visual novel from China, which I would be rather happy to see, it's from Sekai Project as the publisher, which Steam apparently is updating a lot of things, because Sekai Project, when I just clicked on that, took me to a whole new Steam website store. Like, yeah. This is crazy. Yeah, I'd be happy to see Chinese visual novels and Chinese video games in general just become better products. Same for Russian things. If they had some quality behind their name, that's better than just having a entire country besmirched by low effort products. And moving on, there's a game called Invasion on Steam. It's an action arcade bullet hell shooter. I don't like bullet hell shooters. It's $4.99. It looks good enough. I can't really say too much more than that. So much of that is going to be the feel of the game. It's $4.99 with no discount. And the first game from that developer. I never really got a response as far as to why the sales for the Fallout 76 Country Road cover will be donated to charity. I believe it's going to Habitat for Humanity. Like, it seems like they're just doing it for good PR. Doesn't seem like anybody really complained or demanded it. And I don't fully see the connection. There's a game on Steam called Aliens Invaded Our Planet. And it's like a half shootout in the West, fast-paced horde shooter with aliens attacking the western area than others. It almost looks good enough to recommend, but it's not quite there. It's 25% off for $3.74. Feels like it's too much of an asset flip. It feels like you're going to not have a ton of time. I just scrolled down to see that the first review says the game's a mess and should be in early access. The developer who made this game also made the game Morphine, which was kind of a mess of a game too, but got some popularity, so it's rated 76% positive in the last 30 days. But this developer is certainly not improving his level of quality. Next game we have on Steam is Gambit Heart. We're almost done here, so I don't want to start another game. Gambit Heart is a top-down RPG with cute, like, cartoony, low polygon graphics. But I'm not sure it has anything here that is worth it. It's early access, 15% off for $8.49. And it is from a developer who's made more positive games than anything else, but I'm still not seeing anything in Gambit Heart that makes it look like it's worth playing. Minecraft in particular is one of the games that have sucked all of the air out of blocky, low polygon RPG survival games. Gamasutra has an article behind the motion capture kiss of The Last of Us Part 2. I think there's some definite weirdness here. There's a picture showing two girls in motion capture suits, not actually kissing, but dancing and doing the scenes from right before them. There's some weirdness there because we know from the Screen Actors Guild strike, or the Voice Actors Guild strike, that a lot of voice actors are hired to do voice acting and then just forced into a motion capture suit. So there's a danger here of nobody clearing a kiss between two actors who may very well not want to kiss each other on multiple times, multiple takes, in the middle of being in motion capture suits, like rigs. So I'm not saying that's what happened here. Maybe everybody had been well informed and prepared and signed on for it. One would hope that was the case, but it certainly opens a door to potentially walking and thinking you're doing one job and then being told to do another job, which is a very big issue, at least in the United States, of jobs changing their job descriptions on the fly. It's like you'll just do anything and everything we'll tell you to do, regardless of how you feel about it. Gamasutra has this editorial roundtable. How does Ubisoft's hit record partnership impact devs? I don't think I read it, but there's like 5 or 6 people that come back and say something. I don't know if they're saying it impacts us well or bad, but I imagine in the long run it opens the door to devs losing work, and they don't want to lose work. I don't think they can afford that without job security first. If video game developers were in a union and they were guaranteed tenure and they couldn't be fired without cause, then sure, having people lighten their loads is a good move. But right now, in the United States particularly, video game developers don't have any job security, so as soon as the work dries up, they're made redundant and laid off. We have a game on Steam called the Absolute VR Experiences. It looks like an assortment of mediocre VR things. It's 15% off for $8.49. Seems like they're mostly just walking simulators through several different environments, like experimental games merged together to sell as one game. And I believe we're at the Humble Bundle. So, is there a new Humble Bundle as far as games? No, the Daedalic Bundle is about to end, and there definitely were some games on there. Well, I do own some of them certainly I don't, and it would have been nice to get like Silence, or I think Deponia Doomsday I don't have, or I may not have Deponia the Complete Collection. So if people wanted to buy that Humble Bundle and direct message me those codes, I certainly would appreciate that. Let's see, let's check out my Twitch. That's one thing I wanted to start doing, to just make sure that my auto uploading of footage to Twitch is working just fine. It doesn't seem like anything's changing there. I've also almost certainly screwed up in announcing doing a calendar. It doesn't seem like that is going to happen at this point. I'm going to have to come back to the drawing board. The Taverns of Time on Hearthstone end July 3rd. I have a special tab open for that, just to tell me that. And the weird thing is, Twitter right now is saying there's only been 4 new tweets. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. So I've resolved now to not sit and I have been sitting probably for 5 minutes just talking, wrapping up, covering the news. But I've resolved not to go through my Twitter feed right at the end of a stream. I'll probably continue looking at the Twitter feed at the beginning before streams, which will make streams start a little bit later, but that's not a big deal, I don't think. So we're good to go. That's going to be it for this stream. It worked pretty good, like despite batteries dying in my mouse and having to go to the bathroom. That worked pretty good, and I'm going to wrap up. And fingers crossed I can start playing Black Mirror 2, and hopefully Black Mirror 2 is a bit more logical and quicker experience than Black Mirror 1. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell just for kicks. Comment and watch every second of my videos, because all of that supposedly helps my channel. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites like Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, friend me on Steam and gift me a game. Steam Summer Sale is about to happen. You can gift me a game during there for cheap. Also, you could gift me a gift card if you don't want to make a choice. And since every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I stream is heavily focused around putting things on the wish list, the wish list is there in case you don't want to pick a game, or you don't have a specific game you want me to cover. That's it for the stream. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.